Well, we're very proud of our football team. It was a game that I think more than anything else showed the character and resilience that we had. We certainly struggled stopping them offensively, but to the tremendous credit of our defense, I thought they showed incredible courage and character to just keep battling all the way down and get all those turnovers and stop them. They controlled the ball, controlled the time, and got down close to the goal line. A lot of teams crumble under those circumstances. I thought our guys rose up and played their best football down there. Conversely, offensively, I thought we started off the game very well. We had a lot of big plays and had some chances that we didn't quite complete. The second half, we just slowed down. We had a few other opportunities that were not nearly as well played as we thought we could have played them. They were there to be had. Defensively, I thought they did a nice job, Tampa Bay, of changing up some things, and it made the recognition and reaction of some of our receivers a little bit slower than we would have liked, and I thought the timing as a result was affected in a negative type of way. But again, all things that are very correctable in terms of effort, in terms of heart, in terms of character. I thought they were terrific. It's always nice to coach from a W and get better from there. So that's what we're looking forward to doing this week. Yeah.
In the second half, your defense, I thought, turned up the heat on Aaron Murray. What adjustments were made defensively? Because their offensive line played well, but not in the second half.
Yeah, I just think more effort than anything. We didn't resort to a blitz package, which we normally use a little bit more frequently than we did today. I think we had enough respect for how quickly he identifies coverages and gets the ball out of his hands when you commit to 5 or 6 rushers. It was just more effort, more effort than anything else. We didn't even change people that much. There wasn't that much substitution. Again, I tip my hat to the effort and character of the way the defense played.
Coach, there's a lot of emphasis on quarterback play in this league. How crucial was it for that opening drive to end the way it did, and how did you think Matt played?
Yeah, it's always nice when you get that first touchdown out of the way, and it just is such a confidence booster. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It just means that all right, all that stuff that they've been telling us, it actually makes sense, and it does work. So it was important. I think from a confidence perspective, it was first game, first time out of the box. Everybody kind of having a look-see and let's see how this thing's going to play out kind of a posture. Even though you try to tell them not to be that way, human nature being the way it is, I think it was important that we put it into the end zone, and we did, which is the reason McGloin snuck it. I mean, he didn't want to even take a chance on anybody else. He just quarterback sneaked and put it in the end zone. I think Matt played well, and early on, and later on, again, he put some throws that were there to be had, and we just didn't come up with them. Again, no one feels worse than the guys that didn't capitalize on those opportunities. But the good thing is you can see it where it can be better, where the potential still lies. And as a result of that, I think everybody still feels very positive about what could have been. And it's always nice to say what could have been better, and yet we still had a W.
Coach, in the second half, Tampa Bay began to alternate their quarterbacks a bit. You saw a lot more of Quinton Flowers in the second half. What adjustments were on defense were made, and do you think they responded to the challenge well of 2 quarterbacks with totally different skill sets?
It depends on your definition of well, because in terms of shutting them down, we didn't. In terms of keeping them out of the end zone, we were terrific, and you can't play much better than that. Certainly the turnovers that we garnered were crucial to the victory, but it was a challenge. And again, as was pointed out earlier, their offensive line is a good offensive line, and they played well. We have a lot of confidence in our defensive line, and for them to play as dominantly as they did against us was a little bit surprising. But the guys just kept fighting, kept battling. And when it got down to putting it actually across the goal line, they didn't do it. So I was, again, more than anything, just proud of the resiliency that we demonstrated.
Kevin, Ryan from the New York Post. Obviously, you know the value of a first impression. I'm wondering what you thought the product on the field said in terms of the legitimacy of this league, and then the fan base and how they reacted to you guys.
I think the quality of play has been surprising, how good it is. We were hopeful it was going to be good. I think everybody in the league was, but it's been outstanding now. Again, we would have liked to put a few more points up offensively, but, in terms of the full gamut of the game, and, Jerry Glanville's been around a long time defensively and did everything under the sun, and yet we still responded well and still had even numerous other chances that we didn't quite finish off the way we would have liked. But I think the quality of play is I think I'll bet people are surprised about how good the play is and how good the quality of coaching is, which is, has helped to, serve as a very important catalyst to bringing the ability level of these guys to where they're able to perform the way they did. I mean, you look at the two games yesterday, that was pretty good football. I think anybody that loves the game of football saw with their own eyes, say, hey, you know what, this is something I can watch and enjoy and get behind. In terms of our fans, I thought they were ready to cheer. We just needed to give them a few more things to cheer about in the second half. But they were there, and I think the ones that were there enjoyed themselves, and they'll be back, and hopefully we'll have a few more joining with them.
Coach, talk about, even though the offensive line was very huge, you guys play, for the most part, with gap integrity.
Right.
And you guys never gave up really big plays on the edge. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think that it's something we've stressed as a team, on both sides of the ball and in our kicking game, and we did that, just what you referred to. We maintained the integrity of our offensive lines and defense. You didn't see anybody breaking through against our offensive line. You didn't see anybody giving up a gap or giving up the end against a really, really talented running back and quarterback that was, it certainly challenged us. There's no question about it. They've got a good football team. There was a reason they were favored coming into our place, and so I feel good again about the fact that our guys just played disciplined football in that aspect. The area that we shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times, inexcusably, is that we had a couple of too many men on the football field at one time, and that we did it on both sides of the ball, and there's no excuse for that. But we'll get that cleaned up.
Hey, Kevin, how important has Matt McGloin's leadership and experience been for you guys as you're building the team over the last couple of months? And did that kind of manifest itself in how well you guys were able to take care of the ball offensively?
I hope so, because that was an important consideration when we made our choice. There was some very talented players out there, guys that are maybe bigger, stronger arm, better, can run around and do some things you saw today on our opposition. But, we thought we saw a guy that would be a catalyst, in terms of us trying to build this thing the way we wanted. He still has a tremendous competitive fire to go out and compete and play well. He has been in the other league for a number of years. He knows what it takes to succeed. He's a great example. He's not afraid to speak his mind to the players. So I think he was an important choice for us, but it was certainly part of our decision making in making him the guy that we went after.
Coach, you alluded to it earlier about it came down to just execution. How much of football, winning and losing, comes down to effort and want to?
Boy, that's a $1 million question, because it's something that we always try to preach, and both play such an important role. There's no question execution is the key to a lot of wins, but through the years, I've seen guys and teams that seem to have that esprit de corps, that trust in each other, that unwillingness to accept defeat, attitude that somehow, some way, we're going to win this game. It may not be as pretty as we'd like it to be, but we're going to get it done. And I thought that was more than anything the reason we won today. It wasn't necessarily the execution throughout the entire game, but it was definitely the want to win, the desire to do anything so that we somehow, some way came out on top.
Coach, what was it like going through that tunnel for the first time since, 2013?
2013, yeah.
And what was it like leaving with your first W as a head coach?
Well, it's always, been part of the reason that I came back, and I think people have heard it enough. Why haven't you come back before? Well, any other job would have required me that I'd be gone 12 months of the year, and I wasn't willing to do that anymore. This league allows me to do it at home, so I can be with my grandchildren. And yet, once you're here with the players, it's just like any other job I've had, whether collegiate or the Professional Football League, the National Football League, Canadian Football League, or whatever. It's the reason that I wanted to come back. It's the almost indescribable emotion of you're totally invested. You've given up so much of yourself, and your teammates and your fellow coaches and your players have all done that, and it's like, here it is, you know, it's showtime, and you got to go out and perform, and you got to go out and play, and there's an anxiety, there's an excitement, there's a difficult to really explain to the people who haven't been in that situation, but I haven't been able to duplicate that feeling anywhere else, so it was the reason that I wanted to come back. And, you know, whether you call it love of football, you call it love of being part of a group that where you're more concerned about their well-being than your own, I don't know what it is, but it's a special, special feeling.
Coach, how difficult was it to not be calling the offensive plays today? And when was the last time in your career you coached a game without calling the plays?
Yes, and it was very difficult, but it was a decision I made that, you know, this league is about giving other, you know, players and coaches a chance. You know, I've done it. I've, you know, done it in this league for 24 years. So I mean, it's something I treasured doing. I don't like not doing it, but once I made a decision that I was going to incorporate certain parts of an offense that I wasn't as familiar with, I felt that I had to hire somebody and then allow him to do his job. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. And I try to be judicious, but I certainly make, you know, the foundation of what we do for the most part is what I want to do, and trying to be aggressive and throwing the ball downfield and being willing to look at what they're doing defensively and attack them schematically in a way that gives our players the best chance to be successful. I want to do that, but in terms of the RPOs and those things, it's not something I had done before. And with the play clock being shortened from 40 to 25 seconds, I made a living by giving the quarterbacks that I've coached 2 or 3 plays every play, and put the onus on them to identify what the coverage was, where the pressure was coming from, what front they were in, and then get those plays that out of the 2 or 3 that I sent in to the right play. I don't think there's necessarily enough time to do that approach. So there has to be a more extensive built-in solution on each and every play, and that's what we're doing, and that's that RPO thing that so many people have heard about that's so popular at the collegiate level and is starting to move its way fairly substantially into the National Football League. So I hired a couple people that's what they've been doing. So if you got complaints, I won't give you his name, but no, it'll always be my responsibility. But it is something that I'm used to doing, and I found myself biting my tongue a few times. There's no question.
There will be 2 more questions. Rich and
Kevin, there was a lot of talk coming in about the different rules in this league and how it would affect the game. Could you just go through some of those wrinkles and what it was like coaching through that, and maybe some of the rules you like and don't like?
The thing that I've spent some time with is the analytics of that, which is because we haven't been out on the field. There's been a lot of studies done, but the reality of it is until more data becomes available from actual XFL and not stuff that's been extrapolated from the National Football League or from collegiate football, it's hard to know what to do all the time. But what we've been told that, you know, to be a little bit more aggressive, and I know when I say we've been told, the guy that I talk to tells me I need to be more aggressive with, you know, the extra point considerations, that the National Football League level of success was X amount from the 10-yard line and very similar from the 5. And so if you got, say, 30% is your success rate, well, if you go 3 out of 10, you got 9 points, where from the 2-yard line, it's been in the National Football League under 50%. So if you go 10 times, you only got 5 points. So he said, it makes sense to go from the 10. And I said, it may make sense to you and up here to me, but down here in my heart, I don't think I can take it. So we were a lot more conservative, but we were getting to the point where we were considering that. And I think when it gets into the 4th quarter, particularly when you're behind and you've got to make a decision, you know, how much are you willing to gamble on the extra point to get yourself close, it's going to become a bigger part than I think it's played out in yesterday's games or in today's game. But I can see it. It certainly means there's a focus on the what we call offensively green zone and defensively red zone. From that tight green area, there's a significant, you have to have more plays. You know, if you average getting down there, say, 5 times a game, well, then you have, you know, your plays from being down there 5 times a game. But now every time you score a touchdown, you got to go either from the 2, the 5, or the 10. So you got an additional X amount of plays, X plus Y. And now when it goes to overtime, you got another 5 plays. So you better be good in that, and you better have spent enough time in that area of the field, because if it arises and you're not prepared, it's going to bite you, and you're going to be awfully disappointed that when you had a chance to win a game and you didn't. So we spent what seems like an exorbitant amount of time on that part of the field, but it didn't come into play as much today, but it certainly could and probably will in the future.
You've been away from football some time, and there have been lots of changes. I'm sure that you've been watching football, but what are the biggest changes that you see in a professional football in terms of plays, in terms of players, in terms of tactics? What kind of adjustment did you have to make?
I may be boring with this answer, but what I was kind of alluding to before, that, you know, the movement of the RPOs into the professional ranks, the movement ability of some of the quarterbacks, and how that has been not a fringe part of the offense, but the main part of the offense, is something that is certainly becoming more and more prevalent in the National Football League, and you saw it today. I mean, it's a challenge defensively. You line up and you got everything structured to stop a drop-back passing game, and then all of a sudden you got to deal with somebody that's doing those zone reads and can get out on the perimeter and cause you all kinds of problems if you're not really disciplined out there. So it's I see it moving more and more now. People say, oh, now there's movement quarterbacks. There never went. Well, no, there's always been those guys in the league, but it seems like, you know, Chip Kelly kind of started it in Philly and then hit a roadblock and stopped having the success that he did initially. But you can see it with what Baltimore's doing. You can see it with, you know, the movement ability of Patrick Mahomes, what that means. Not that they're doing it that often, but just the fact that he can move around like that, and when something breaks down, he can somehow make a play just on his own athletic ability. It's a nice. I still think you have to throw the ball to win at the professional level. I'm convinced of that. But it's nice when a guy can just, you know, somebody breaks down up front, can all of a sudden buy some time and solve a problem. You can't do it all the time, but if you can solve it once in a while, boy, it's a nice weapon to have. Thank you all. Appreciate it.